Every iconic car brand has its iconic design elements. For Ferrari, it is the V12 engine and the red color. For Lamborghini, it is the charging bull. For Honda, it is the VTEC. And for BMW, it is the kidney grille and the inline-six engine. Hello, my name is Peter, and in today's episode of Motor Minutes, I will talk about the history of the BMW 303, the car which gave us the kidney grille and the inline-six engine. Our story begins in 1933 in Eisenach. BMW's car building division is only 5 years old, and the first in-house car designed by BMW, the 3-20, is currently in production. BMW decides to compete with the big boys, with Mercedes and Audi. But for this, they need a new car, something with a bigger engine, something with a better ride than the BMW 3-20. So in 1933, they released the BMW 303. If we take a look at the BMW 303, we can already see the huge kidney grills. They are even bigger than the kidney grills on the BMW 4 and 7 series, the cars which I call the Beaver Brothers. And despite being 100 years old, in my opinion, it is a better looking car than those two. The BMW 303 at the date of release was, of course, the biggest BMW ever built, but it was the third car they ever built, so this was not that hard. And the car came with 3 different body types: a touring car, a saloon, and a cabrio. As mentioned before, BMW wanted to compete with Mercedes and Audi, and specifically with the Mercedes 170 and the Audi 5-30. And those cars had 6-cylinder engines. So BMW needed to fit a new engine to the 303 because the 3-20 only used a 4-cylinder. So the BMW M78 was born, and this is the first inline-six BMW car engine. In its original form, the engine displays 1.2 liters, and it was developed from the 4-cylinder used by the M3-20. The chief designer was Rudolf Schleichen, and at first glance, the engine was a classic 1930s car engine. It had an iron block with overhead valves, an iron cylinder head, and 2 valves per cylinder fed by a carburetor. But the M78 had quite a few unique design elements. First of all, the engine was built robust. The crankshaft and the camshaft are both supported by 4 main bearings, and the engine block was built robust too. A key innovation in the M78's design was the horizontal placement of the spark plugs below the intake manifold, which enabled a more compact packaging and also improved accessibility for maintenance in the tight engine base. You might ask, why did BMW decide to build a completely new engine? Why did they not improve the 4-cylinder used by the M3-20 and saved a lot of money? First of all, there was the reason of prestige. You couldn't sell a luxury or a high-end car with a 4-cylinder engine back in the day. Sadly, this has changed in our modern times. Also, 6-cylinder engines have quite a few desirable traits when compared with 4-cylinders. They are more smooth, they have a smoother power delivery, and even for the same displacement, they offer a higher torque. For this reason, BMW decided to use a 6-cylinder, and the engine was such a good construction that it was used all the way up till the 1950s, and the last version of the engine, the 327, produced 50 horsepower. Before we continue, please give us a like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what do you think about our latest videos. So we already have a new engine and a new body, but we also need a suspension, and it would be great if we could steer our car. Chief engineer Fritz Fiedler decided to change completely the suspension of the 303 when compared to the 3-20. He had a new axles, a new suspension setup, and a direct rack and pinion steering. He basically created the first genuine driver's car in BMW's history. Yes, before you ask, the car had turn signals too. Priced at 3,600 Reichsmarks, it was the cheapest 6-cylinder German car at the time, but the car sadly had flaws. First of all, the combination of soft springs at the front and hard springs at the rear caused understeer and body roll. This was unpleasant in a car which was meant to be a more luxurious ride. Also, the customers complained about the lack of power, and the car could not reach 100 km per hour on flat terrain. For these reasons, the 303 only lasted in production for 1 year before it was replaced by the 315, which was basically a heavily updated 303 with an updated suspension and the engine with increased bore and stroke, giving it more power. The engine now produced 40 horsepower and the car could reach 100 kilometers per hour. Only about 2,300 303s were produced. And while preparing this video, I looked up the used or veteran market for it. There weren't any being sold, but based on my search, a good condition 303 costs around 30 to 60,000 US dollars. And for this money, you have real history in your hands. The first BMW with the iconic kidney grille and inline six engines. Many things changed since 1933 at BMW. But there is one thing still present on every car they produce, the iconic kidney grills. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a like and subscribe. Let us know your opinion in the comments below and have a nice day. See you later.